There is a notion that luxury anything tends to come with better quality. For example, a luxury handbag tends to have better craftsmanship than something from high street. Food from a Michelin star restaurant tends to be healthier than something from a fast food chain. And we probably think the same about private healthcare and education. But when it comes to skincare, I want to say it's even easier to make the assumption. At the end of the day, not many of us have the time to study the science of dermatology and the many skincare ingredients. So the quickest way for a layperson like myself to gauge the quality of a certain skincare product is probably the price tag and maybe some reviews. In my 20s, I would not flinch at buying a $200 moisturizer. But the question is luxury skincare really worth our money? As someone who prided herself for investing in her skincare, I now think luxury skincare is often overpriced and also not necessarily more effective. I do, however, really believe in using certain beauty gadgets, which I'll talk about later. But to give you a bit of history, as a teenager and a young adult, my skincare used to be really minimal because I had no money. But as soon as I started working, I went all in. Every month, I was buying skincare products like I had 10 faces, and the products I bought became more and more expensive. For a major part of my 20s, I would pile on layers and layers of expensive products, thinking more was always better. However, after a while, I started getting a lot of blackheads and whiteheads on my nose and my skin. But instead of questioning my skincare routine, I just thought I was getting older, and so I needed to buy more skincare. Things got worse when I got pregnant. Throughout my pregnancy, I had a lot of cystic acne, especially on my chin. And even after I had my baby, it never really went away. I just put it down to my hormones and assumed it would eventually settle. Well, it didn't. Honestly, I tried absolutely everything. I was prepared to buy anything that promised to give me clear skin. I even went for hydrofacial treatment, and each session was about £120 for about 45 minutes. So it was quite expensive. Now, it did feel really nice and pampering, but after going for about 6 months, I didn't see any improvement. Looking back, I have no idea why it took me so long and so much money to finally see a dermatologist. Honestly, if I did seek professional advice earlier, it would have been a lot cheaper overall. And to my surprise, all the recommendations from my dermatologist are fairly affordable, and a lot of the products are from drugstore. At first, I was skeptical, but now my mentality has totally shifted. Now, to be fair, I was put on some pretty aggressive medications, but even after my acne went away, I continue using fairly affordable skincare, and thankfully my skin is doing okay. I'll make sure to leave the skincare I'm using down below if any of you are interested. But to give you some context, the face wash I'm using right now is from Simple. Now this costs less than 10% of the price I used to pay for a facial cleanser. And you know what? It works amazingly well. Years ago, I used to love watching skincare reviews. And as soon as someone raved about a serum or a moisturizer, I'll buy it. But the truth is, reviews are usually only helpful to a certain extent. Think about it. There are so many variables that we sometimes forget to take into consideration when watching reviews. First of all, we might have different skin type, we might live in different climate, and we have different diet, daily schedule, stress level, sunlight exposure, and so on. I don't watch reviews as much now, but this is not to say we are not influenced by reviews when we buy skincare. For example, I like to browse skincare websites, and if the packaging of a certain product appeals to me, I'll click into it and look at the reviews, and if I like what I see, I buy it. But if you think about it, buying skincare is really an act of trial and error because until you put something on your face, you simply have no idea if your skin will like it or have a reaction to it. In an ideal world, it would be amazing to have a sample for every product that we want to try. But that is simply not the reality we live in. And let's not forget about genetics. I think we sometimes forget our skin is the way it is, partly because of genetics. Now, talking about genetics and DNA can be off-putting, especially in the industry of skincare. But I'm sure we've all seen people who are just blessed with beautiful complexion. These people could be sleep deprived, stressed, and extremely busy, but their skin always looks flawless. And ironically, these very people are often the perfect candidates for skincare advertisements. So it just makes you think, were they already beautiful before the skincare or because of the skincare? Now, of course, consistent skincare routine will make a difference in the long run. For example, removing your makeup properly, really hydrating your skin, and making sure you have sufficient UV protection. I myself am very diligent with these basic steps. But my point is, there is a limitation to what skincare can do for our skin. Nowadays, a lot of skincare products claim they can reverse aging and repair collagen. And to me, a lot of these claims just sound too good to be true. I highly recommend a YouTube channel called Dr. Lee by two dermatologists in the US. They talk about why luxury skincare is often overpriced and why certain drugstore products can be just as good. In one video, they spoke about why you shouldn't spend money on luxury moisturizers. In fact, some studies have shown luxury moisturizers tend to contain more allergens than drugstore moisturizers. In my 20s, I was introduced to La Mer. Someone I knew really raved about it, and she had amazing skin, and so I decided to give it a try. However, after a few months, I started getting really clogged pores, and as crazy as it sounds, I refused to think that the moisturizer was the reason because I had spent good money on it, and so I just really wanted it to work wonders on my skin. Eventually, things became quite visual and I had to stop using it. But even then, I remained hopeful that I'll find my miracle product from this brand. I remember spending £200 on a bottle of La Mer concentrate. Now this time, it didn't break me out, but it also didn't deliver the results I expected. After doing some research and watching a lot of videos on Dr. Lee, I came to realize that a lot of skincare products actually contain fairly similar ingredients, but their price range can really differ. For example, hyaluronic acid is quite a common ingredient in many skincare products. But if you look at this hyaluronic acid from Dr. Stern, it costs a whopping $300. Meanwhile, a similar product from L'Oreal is only about $25. According to Dr. Lee, both products contain very similar ingredients, and so they recommended the one from L'Oreal because of the value for money. Now the thing is, Dr. Stern is a well-known German aesthetic expert, so you could say her credentials have given her brand a lot of credibility. But whether the price point is justifiable or not, I guess it's up to the person making the purchase. Now, as much as I believe in having a skincare routine, I now also see skincare as the cherry on the cake. At least for me, if I'm not sleeping enough, drinking enough water, or eating healthy, it will take a toll on my skin. And if I'm not taking care of my body, even the most expensive moisturizer won't magically give me amazing skin. After all, our skin is the biggest organ in our body. I think when you're really into skincare, it's easy to assume that as long as you are willing to spend, there will always be a quick fix. But the reality is that is simply not always the case. So I think it's important to set realistic expectations to what our skincare can do for us. Because quite often, skincare is only a small section of self-care and healthy living. Personally, I no longer strictly buy luxury skincare, and thankfully my skin is doing quite well. Now, I do want to point out that I did phase out luxury skincare quite gradually. For example, I started with face wash first. After using the Lancome cleanser for years, I moved on to this amazing simple face wash, and it's been working really well. And later, I replaced my luxury moisturizer with this Kiehl's Ultra Facial Moisturizer. So a lot of what I use now are fairly affordable. I now also try not to burden my skin with too much product. So typically, I now only use my toner and one single serum before applying my moisturizer. A few times a week, I also apply an overnight mask in the night for more hydration. I do, however, believe in investing in certain skincare gadgets. For example, I've been using this Foreo Luna Mini for years. This is a cleansing device and it cleanses a lot better than if I just use my hands. And since using this, I've been getting a lot less breakout. So for me, this has been worth every penny. I've also been religiously using this massaging device from Rafa. This helps to improve blood circulation and reduce puffiness. I make this video not to undermine the value of luxury skincare, but I encourage everyone to be more aware and mindful when buying expensive products. If a certain luxury product is doing amazing things for your skin, then by all means keep using it and make sure to leave a recommendation down below. Personally, I think skincare is absolutely worth investing in. So if a certain luxury product works really well, then I'm more than happy to buy it. But I'm no longer restricting myself to luxury brands just because they are luxury brands. Please let me know if you agree with what I've said in this video and what is your personal experience of using expensive skincare. That's it from me today. Take care and I will see you soon.